Fragment 130 by Sappho. Again, love the limb loosener rattles me. Bittersweet, irresistible, a crawling beast.
Uduasha City, where the sun is a mirror and the moon a shadow, where dancers cavort in forbidden operas, making love to forgetting and flame, where the wealthy play at war with silver swords and silken sashes, where the people mine the dead heart of a burning star for cannonballs and pipework, and where 1,000 secrets hide in a forest of paper and ink. Here, the 5 keybearers reside, the 5 who know the secrets of the broken gates of death. 5 only. There is no 6th spire, forlorn and forgotten in the desert. There is no one who looks to the displaced, the poor and destitute and landless, whose ancestry has been stripped from them by foreign looms and foreign sparkcraft, and no one has ever heard of the House of Endings. But this is their story. Their roots pulled up and burned, they stand in filth up to their necks, and that is precisely why they must keep their heads ever high. Welcome to Uduasha, immigrant. May it fear the name of the house you will build. Welcome to Desperate Attune, an actual play podcast about characters with their identities in peril, played by an international cast devoted to fiction-first gaming, collaborative world-building, and complex character drama. Welcome back to Desperate Attune, everyone. Last session, we were in the desert. We were doing a lot of things in the desert. In fact, we saw the crew wrap up a very long score following Omid and Jasper's Jezailchis out into the Deathlands, into the Black Deserts around Uduasha, to track down the Silver Nail that had been playing at politics, trying to recruit one of the desert tribes, the Cholmondelese, to join forces with Akoros and the Empire. Our crew foiled these plans and instead signed them up to join forces with the Rising Moon Sword School, and by proxy, kind of, with House Ixis, the sneaky demon house of Uduasha. And yeah, on a note of friendship and some ceremonial combat to free the leader of the Silver Nails, a man named Darta, we basically wrapped up the score and had the characters return with no less than 2 captives, kind of, to Uduasha. One of them being Omid, Mushfik's old rival, and the other one being Darta himself, who is exhausted, dehydrated, and in poor condition, but alive. And being taken back to the Silver Nails, who have rewarded the crew handsomely.
Would you describe him as bothered, unmoisturized, unhappy, and not in his lane?
Yes, I would describe him in that fashion. He's definitely not moisturized. And he has learned to dislike sand a lot. But anyway, that is what we did last session, and we return now with the crew flush with cash after both having received a lot of money from the Silver Nails and a lot of stolen a lot of cash from the Jezailchis, setting themselves up for a strike on Jasper himself, the mercenary who got rich off of the fall of Kethris and the suppression of the revolts there. And so that's where we are, I think. We're starting on a downtime phase this time. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Yeah, so we didn't really talk about this, but I should talk about it now, I guess. I think after last score asset from the payoff that we got, I think we are in a position to add a custom upgrade that I am just writing down as some firearms.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You have some firearms. This is true.
As listeners might be aware, in Uduasha we've decided that guns are fairly hard to come by. So even though technically all our sheets have guns, we can just pick guns whenever we want. We haven't done so. Now we can. Whether we will or not is another matter.
Good point.
Yeah, that's all.
I forget what they're. I think is it that the sound of guns going off is bad because the cops will get their.
Yeah, it generates
factor.
extra heat. The guns are more restricted in Uduasha. They are not
That's the one. Yeah.
as willy-nilly to come by.
This is a civilized city, unlike Dustfall. You see?
Yes. Yeah, indeed. And so we see your characters return to their lair with Darta is presumably not taken back to your lair. He's presumably handed off to the Silver Nails as soon as you get back. But Omid is just your prisoner, so I guess you're taking him to the lair. He is kind of a liability back in Doskwell because he could very well warn Jasper about what happened. So you probably shouldn't let him out of your sight.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We should have a chat with him. We should convert him to our cause. We haven't done that.
We should have a chat with him. I was wondering if it makes sense to do that in downtime because I think when we were gathering info for Score, I mean,
he's
all
when
the
it
info we
makes
need.
the most sense to talk to him.
Yeah.
I agree. I think it makes sense to do downtime first. You've also spoken some with Omid already, and he is also will need some healthcare and food and water to get back into shape. So
where are we keeping him in the meantime? Because we don't have a holding cell.
We do have a vault.
Yeah, but it's vault level 1, so it's not a holding cell.
I think it's fine to lock him in the vault.
Yeah, we could, well, for sure. I don't want to take
him up. Let's tie him up to something. To a post.
Yeah, let's invest in. We have a clock to make our lair secure. Let's just do that as well.
Yep, makes sense. Okay, but let's start then with our downtime actions, and then we'll get back to Omid. I mean, realistically, in the fiction, right here, realistically, your downtime actions and your gather info for the next score would probably be taking place kind of intermittently, but it's easier to do downtime first and gather info later.
For sure.
Even though they might be taking place at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool.
All right. So, Bidrohi has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stress, which is respectable amount.
Oh dear.
I think it's time for me to go indulge vice, and it'd be nice if we brought the entire crew in on this, actually.
All right.
Sure.
Yeah.
Are you going to the opera, or?
You know what? We have just had, even though time is of the essence, we need to gear up for our next strike. We just had a big score. The gang that Omid led out, Jasper isn't expecting them back already. I assume we have asked the Silver Nails to keep it a little bit on the download that Darta's back. Whether they'll oblige us on that is another matter.
That makes sense. I think they have a reason to do that also because they don't want to make a big show of look, our leader's really fucked up. So they will probably want him to heal up before he's seen in public again.
Yeah.
Also, they failed. Right, they failed to do what they were supposed to do. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah. The Silver Nails failed and their leader almost died over it, and they're not going to talk very much about what happened until they have nursed him back to health, at the very least.
Darta's not coming out until he's fully moisturized.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. So while that's happening, we have an opportunity. We have a little bit of leeway during which we can frame our downtime. And everyone just had really fucked up traumatic experiences, so Bidrohi suggests a night out on town for basically the entire gang. Except Pilot, because Pilot doesn't want to go, and Pilot will stay at home keeping guard on Omid.
Yeah, absolutely. So the whole gang is hitting the town in Ashcloister, I presume? That's usually where you party, or are you taking it somewhere else this time?
Yeah, let's go to the Chipped Cup. The Flatbread Uncles don't own the Chipped Cup, as far as we're aware.
Nope, they don't.
Yeah.
The Chipped Cup is in kind of the interesting position that, officially it serves tea. That's, officially what the institution is, but no one goes there for the tea. It's mediocre. They go there for the entertainment, which is, I think, precisely why the Flatbread Uncles don't control it, right? Because on paper it's a restaurant, but everyone knows this is a fiction.
Yeah. It's also, from what I remember, where all the spies hang out.
Yeah.
Yeah. That may not be the Flatbread Uncles scene as such. Yeah.
Nope.
Let's see. I mean, this is our night out. I think Bidri suggests we go to the opera and then we head back to the Chipped Cup with the Blue Smoke Troop and just chill out. I don't know if anyone wants to add anything to the night out.
I think I would like everyone to add a bit to the night out. I also think it's very funny that the Blue Smoke Troop are your allies, but also Cherubino is there.
Yeah, I mean,
They have
there's-
one member who you hate, and then everyone else you're cool with.
oh, there's always that one guy in the friend circle that no one actually likes.
Yes. Very good.
I don't know what you're talking about. Everybody in my friend circle is incredible, and
Mhm.
I don't think about whether that means I'm the one that nobody likes.
Of course.
Hmm.
Of course.
But I do
yeah.
actually have one thing that, and maybe this is my contribution to the night out, is that I am not getting wasted because I have arranged a meeting with the boss of the Blue Smoke Troop.
Excellent.
Okay. Interesting. So you will be meeting him somewhere behind the scenes.
Yes.
I was about to say, though, as we set this scene at the Chipped Cup, with all of you at least hanging out there, even if all of you are not partying, I'll read what we have established about it. So officially, it is a place you go to drink tea, but you do, but it's not the reason you go there. In reality, however, it is kind of an entertainment value / brothel, where a lot of spies hang out there, and it's also a great place to just pay for people's attention and for various forms of entertainment, which means that it is kind of rowdy place, right? There's a lot going on. It's very loud. There's people playing instruments. There's other stuff going on in the back. And so I think it would be nice to just a little bit paint the scene at the Chipped Cup. And so we have established that the tea is mediocre. There are no refined tastes here. And the place doesn't really serve food, but presumably people bring it or people cater it in for big nights on town and whatever. So let's start with Mushfik as our resident expert on this. What's everybody eating? And how did it get here?
While you were describing this, I just had this. The image that came to my mind was like those, what do you call them? In Japan, the host clubs, where it's the I guess the waiter or the staff who's doing all the ordering for you, and they're ordering all the because I assume the Blue Smoke Troop is since they're here, and being actors and thus completely untrustworthy, they're the ones who are like, oh, we should get this, and then get us to buy the So what is everyone eating? I think, I mean, this place, the tea is bad, but I assume they have very expensive alcohol. Right?
Yeah.
I think people are mostly drinking that and just having small bites. I don't think the people are eating much. I think people are mostly drinking even. So
yeah, makes sense. So there's a lot of drinking, which I think it fits the Chipped Cup that they're not actually licensed for this. It's like an open secret, right? They're not allowed to serve alcohol. And technically, this is just the waiters and the employees serving you from their own private stash, but it's basically a racket.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so there's maybe some finger foods and snacks, but the fancy drinks have come out. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, so bottles are being passed around unmarked. You don't really know what you're drinking most of the time, but it's strong and some of it tastes good.
I don't think we have actually established what people drink in Euruvia.
Arak. I think.
Yeah, I was also thinking Arak. It's.
I think Arak makes sense. There is also.
And a bhang sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in Goa they make a liquor out of cashew that I'm not a huge fan of, but many of the people I know are. And I wonder whether that's something that I mean, the fact is that people will try and ferment and then drink basically anything.
Yes. I will also point out that they probably, in your honor, since your friends are arranging this, they are probably serving you Ketrisi banana beer, because I think that's a thing.
Yeah, of course they are, which
yeah.
I must accept that they are doing because it's in our honor, and I don't know how to say that Mushfik has made this happen. And I don't know how much banana beer we actually drank back home. But what am I going to do? Be like, no, this is inauthentic?
Yeah.
Oh.
Apparently, this is a thing in Uganda, the DR Congo, Kenya, and Rwanda, and Burundi.
Let's also say
Banana beer, yeah.
that we are from the desert. We've also brought back some fermented camel milk, and everyone's pretending that it tastes good, even though they've never had it before.
yes.
And they don't, yeah, they're like, oh, I don't know.
Oh, yeah. I
That's
mean,
the
yeah,
stuff.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll put some hair on your chest, even if you don't want it.
Yeah. Very good. So that's the cuisine, and I guess Mushfik gets his interesting flavors here at least, because even if there's no food, there's interesting things to sample. Let us turn our attention to Saeeda and have you paint the scene, because I think this is something Saeeda would be noticing. So the Blue Smoke Troop and your gang are here actually partying, and that's like two big gangs. You have a thing going between you. This is a private party. Maybe some friends of the various organizations are invited, right? But you haven't completely chartered the Chipped Cup. So what other hanger-ons are around here? Basically, what's the vibe of the other people who are just kind of hanging around in the background and just kind of here while this party is going on?
Yes, that's a great question. I think that often when I go to a place where there's a bunch of us who have turned up and monopolized the place, but not officially, everybody else is kind of shooting us dirty looks. They hate that we have done this, right?
Yep.
And I think it's not necessarily different here. Probably, like we're loud and we're having a great time, and the people who are here, like, because the Chip Cup is also a place for some people to do tradecraft and do business, and we are definitely getting in the way of that. Though maybe we're also a great cover. I don't know. I think that that's probably, we know that there's a lot of people here who are covertly doing something else, right?
Yeah.
So there's definitely, as Saeeda's looking around, they can see a lot of very professional liars pretending that they're also having a great time at this party and that's all that they're here for and they're going to get wasted, when in reality they are conducting, maybe some of them know that this is happening and then are conducting clandestine meetings using us as cover.
Right. So there are people just taking advantage of this to hand over mysterious briefcases in the back and so
exactly. I mean, it's like someone's being brought here, and then we're passing around glasses or whatever. And I think we are all very careful, actually. We all know that there's some non-zero chance that we're going to be poisoned by an enemy, right?
Yeah.
But there's definitely other people here who are taking this opportunity to quietly knock off a rival or something, right?
Excellent.
So there's both deals and maybe at least one covert assassination.
In Dhaka, you have to be worried about this because they call it the Oggun Party, which kind of means the unconsciousness party, which is basically what they're trying to imply is that there's an organized group of people out there who want to slip you drinks and turn you unconscious so they can rob you or something. And I find this incredibly funny that they use the word party for this, as though it's a political party.
Yes.
Oh no.
Anyway, so this is the Oggun Party or something. I don't know.
Sure.
Yes.
Pretty typical of Bengali humor, though, to call it that.
Yeah. Indeed. So that's what I think is happening.
Yes. I am going to turn the attention now to Clem here with a question that I was going to ask Bidrohi, but I think it's more interesting to ask it of Clem, actually, which is, so the troop themselves, the Blue Smoke troop, they are celebrities. They're very fancily dressed. They are very seductively dressed. They look good, and they are celebrities, but they're also kind of untrustworthy people, right? So they dress garishly, is the thing. And I want to ask you here, what is your gang wearing to match them? What's your fineries, and in what way does Clem look slightly different from the others? What are the party outfits of the crew?
Now that is a question. Now, let me just channel the spirit of Bidrahi to figure that out. I think that we're all wearing. I mean, we've got a lot of cash, and we have mostly got Anrakis off of Tom George's back. So we've visited our friends, and I think some of us might be sporting Shadow Silk specifically.
Okay. Very good. So you're wearing a lot of blacks. And my other question, this is why specifically I asked it of Clem, is what is fancy dress to Clem? Like, do you dress Severosi? Do you like dress like everyone else and adhere to the local fashions? Or is there something that stands out about your idea of fancy dress?
It's very Sunfall inspired, actually. I think on their left arm, they're wearing what they forged for the occasion, which is a pauldron and knightly armor over just the left side of their body. So there's a little bit of clinking as they bring their glass to their lips.
Yeah, so you're in a little bit of like parade uniform. Interesting. Yeah.
Have you given yourself a medal?
Can you make yourself a medal? I guess you can.
Make myself a medal. I revived a prehistoric lake, and all I got for it was this medal.
This shitty medal. Yeah, correct.
And then it died again.
What did you do with your real medals?
Probably pawned them, I'm guessing, but like they're worth quite a bit of money.
I think they still have them.
Cool. That is an interesting detail, absolutely. And then the last question, I think, will be for Bidrahi, because then I have asked a paint the scene question of everyone. And that is, people are drunk, it's rowdy, and so on. I think that the people all involved here are playing some sort of game. There's like a gambling, and I think the vibe here is not so much gambling for money, although maybe people do that too. But the way I'm imagining this here is like a kind of a gambling for dares kind of thing that people often did at these parties, right? Like people pay various embarrassing like forfeits, or they have to like sing a song, or they have to compose a poem on the fly, that sort of thing. But what's the game?
You're asking a man who doesn't party in real life.
Yeah, I know, but you can make up whatever
you
shit
know
you
that,
like.
Huh? You know that, huh? Okay.
I feel like you asked for that to happen to you.
Yes, you did. You did. I'm just going to ignore it. You go on. Make up a game. Listen. I know you play games, okay?
Yeah. Okay.
But yes, there's a party game going on. Is my point.
Yes.
Yeah. What is it?
And it involves a sword school and a group of acrobats.
Yeah.
It's Sword Twister.
Sword Twister. Okay, fantastic.
It's Twister, but you're allowed to use swords.
Yeah.
Why would you need to be like what advantage or disadvantage does the sword?
It's Strip Twister.
So you have to picture the sword as an extension of your arm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see.
Yep.
Imagine trying to hit, like, I don't know, I've never actually played Twister. Imagine trying to touch the yellow circle, but there's 3 swords in the way.
Yeah. Okay, absolutely. Okay. Yes. So I want to point out that Cherubino is a contortionist, and I think he's winning.
Yeah.
But yes.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
You combine swords and people who can get around them. It's perfect. It's a perfect party game.
Absolutely. Yeah. So there's like a bunch of people like probably on a table doing these like bizarre Twister game. Yeah. This is the vibe. I think now we can zoom in at various scenes in this, but I just think it's nice to get a sense of the party, right? Yep.
Excellent.
So, shall we start with Bidrahi or with Saeeda? Because both of you have announced interest in.
I also have a request for what's going on here.
Okay, go ahead.
Which is, Clem, this is up to you. I think this would be cool. I think this would be funny, and I think this is a good way to like get some crew connection going. But it's up to you. Can Tamira be here?
Oh, your rival?
Clem's rival. Just as a patron, rival. Just someone who's at the Chipped Cup. People are at the Chipped Cup.
people are the chipped cup. Yeah, absolutely.
Makes sense.
She is a supplier of illicit substances too, which would make and a hedonist. So
I think this would be a good way to get the crew meeting Tamira. All right, if you're okay with that.
Yeah.
All right.
Sounds great.
So we've added another
okay,
thing.
then I guess Clem also has a scene because Tamira's here, just kind of drawn to the general debauchery, I guess.
Excellent. Beautiful.
And yeah, I think it might make sense to start with Saeeda in like a back room talking to the boss, though.
Yeah.
I'll just indulge my voice. Like, I'll just have the dice roll in the background, and then I'll inform what happens in my scene. We don't have to
Go
dwell
ahead.
on it at the moment.
I do have an idea for you talking to Momtaz, but you can roll first if you like. We can get back to it.
Sure. Done so.
Yep, you're donezo. And you have not overindulged. So you have cleared 5 stress of your 7. Or, well, you will when your scene rolls around. Anyway, so we see this party. We zoom in over the Twister game, the unmarked bottles passed around, the pauldron-clad Clem and the shadow silk and all that. And we zoom further to like a supply room in the back of the chipped cup.
Yes.
Where Saeeda is meeting with Don John, who is a man who does not like to show his face and seldom participates in the performance. Like, he is not a performer, he is a manager. And I think he trusts you well enough. You've been allied long enough that he doesn't bother with like the bullshit of talking to you necessarily from like behind a silk screen and this
because,
and
well,
this
that's what
whole
he did the
setup.
last time. Yeah.
But he trusts you a little more now. So now I think he's simply going to be masked. Like, he trusts you enough to see that he has a physical body.
Yeah. You know, the thing is, though, they're called the Blue Smoke Troop. I wouldn't be surprised if it turned out he's just made of blue smoke. So I'll take it. I think that's good that he does trust you.
I think that he is seen often in a cloud of it. Because I think he has I was going to say that he smokes, but actually I think it's incense. I think he just like burns incense around him a lot for some reason. A little unclear why. And they are very welcome in the chipped cup, so he uses this back room to do that because of reasons.
Yeah,
but
sure.
yeah, he is a fairly tall but otherwise kind of nondescript man. He is masked, and he's just wearing one of the theater masks to just kind of conceal his identity a little bit. They have them. And I think other than that, he's in long blue robes. And he's sitting down.
Yeah. So I've had like a drink and a half. But banana beer is not my favorite. And they might drink it in the capital city, but in Khatam, we mostly drank the camel milk.
Yeah.
And so I think that I'm like nursing this second beer very slowly, and then I will say, and I do think we make like pleasant small talk for a bit, which we don't need to play out, but like it's not like you have to still nevertheless like show some courtesy and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then I think Saeeda will say, not to rush into business, but I presume that you know some of what happened in the Deathlands, that we made some allies and also some less friendly allies.
There is a little dry laugh, and he says, "Well, I'm not omnipresent, but I've figured out a little."
Well, our communities are not so distant from each other. If it isn't because Bidrohi told Mumtaz, it'll be because Bhejal told Cherubino. So I did not mean to presume that perhaps you had no idea.
Yeah, he like laughs a little dryly again, and he says, "Well, that is why I'm here." And like we zoom back out, and we see all of these conversations going on outside, right?
Absolutely.
All of the things they're happening right now, but
exactly, yeah. And I'll say, I've tried for some time to avoid allying with any of the noble houses. they fill me with a deep disgust. But I did not have such a choice out there. And you might say, well, of all of them, Ixis is the worst, but of all of them are the worst. And I have come in part to ask you for a favor, because I think I may need the book now. I think I may have no choice.
Oh, I see. I see. Well, it can be arranged. You've certainly helped us out a lot, and we are about to, I suspect, get involved with the houses more than we'd perhaps like to. And like Mumtaz has.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
I'll just say, your girl is involved in what's this man's name? Anil, something.
Yes. And there is a big payout there for her and possibly for us.
But risk also.
He nods.
Well, and I think that like we are friends, as in not in like a like, I don't know that me and Don John hang out, but we're like allies. And so I think Saeeda is going to do the courtesy of laying out their thoughts like very clearly, right, and like being forthright. And I think they will say, we're going to hit Jasper very soon. In fact, even today is a bit of an indulgence, not one we can avoid. I think we're all pretty ragged, but if we were out in Kethris, I suspect we would have hit them tonight. And it is going to cause some turmoil. It's going to certainly bring attention down on us that we'd prefer to avoid. And Ixis might choose to protect us, or Ixis may choose to use this opportunity to turn the screws. And if there's any advice, I'm in the market.
Okay, interesting. I feel like there's some sort of role here, but I'm not sure what it is.
I mean, it could
is
be
it gather
consort.
information?
It could as fortune. Because I think what's happening here is not necessarily that like I'm asking him to tell me what he knows. It's more that I'm asking him for his best judgment.
Yeah.
Right. And that seems more like relying on the connection I have with him in order to get. I mean, it says gain access, but I guess I'm gaining access to his like.
Yeah.
Judgment.
So what is your goal here actually? I think John is already your ally, so he is going to help you. This role is more to like how helpful he can be, and so in that like.
Yeah, I think in this case, what I want to know, like the reason that I'm asking him this question is that like out of character, we have not seen very much of him, right? And it's an interesting way to see him, and like the way that he thinks, right? And I think the reason Saeeda's doing this is that if, like, she has other friends who are maybe more powerful or more like, can do more things, but I think this is the person who is most like caught up in the ground level stuff, right? Like the person who will take her concerns. If she goes to Sharia and says, "Oh man, I'm stressed," or the King of Lies, it's not gonna. They're not gonna get normal response. They're gonna get some weird poetry or something. And sometimes Saeeda's in the mood for that. But right now, I think it's just like, yeah.
Okay, so I'm just wondering if this is a gather information for the score, or if it's more of a long-term project or something. But it can also just be a fortune roll to see what you find out. I'm fine with that. I just wonder if you want to frame it in some other context.
I mean, I think the fact is also that like I keep forgetting that like Bodyguard, which I've renamed Loyal Vizier, also says when you gather info to anticipate possible threats in the current situation, you get +1 effect. So this might just, as you say, be a gather info, and like I'm trying to anticipate what could go wrong. I think that's totally fine.
Let's treat it that way. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So then consort. If we're +3 with them, do I get a die? Yeah. Okay.
yeah, you do get a bonus die because they are allies. I think it's fair. And you also have improved effect because of your ability.
Makes sense.
So let's see how much he knows. So you roll a
It's
5, which your ability turns into a 6. So you get quite good information. And I will ask you here which way to spin it. So basically, at the moment, you are allied with House and Ixis, kind of. They like you. You are in a turmoil situation with House Anarachis, who have hated you, but who are now sort of ambivalent about you. And House Ankayat still hates you. You get good information on one of these houses, very good information on one of them, which he happens to know. And I'll let you pick whether you want your allies, the people you're embroiled with, or your enemies.
Man, I think that Saeeda's instinct is to ask about an Ixis because it's what affects them most personally. But I think that enemies is the wiser choice, and I think Saeeda is going to know that. I think like they will think, shit, I need to ask about this plus of Ixis, or like
this is an out of character choice. This is just what you think is interesting because we're deciding who he happens to know stuff about.
I mean, if it's purely out of character, even though it would be so much more useful to know about Ankayat, I think he knows about an Ixis.
Fair enough.
I think the reason that like also he knows about an Ixis is that he is exactly the kind of person that an Ixis would be involved with.
Yes, this makes sense. So I guess he nods slowly and he says, "Well, if you come here for information about House and Ixis, I have a few things that may be of an aid to you. First of all, they will keep tabs on you and they will probably know you did it if you do it. That being said, there is someone they rely heavily on who happens to live in Pasarhantu. Someone you could probably bribe. Get information back to them that is what you want House and Ixis to hear. Of course, one does not simply fool them, but if they find contradictory information and some of it comes from their trusted informant, they might be more inclined to believe that. If it's an angle you could work with, I have uncovered some information about an entity called Bishu's Shadow.
That would be useful. Yes. I suspect, given what I have heard from something that called itself the dirt beneath an Ixis's feet, which I'm sure it is, then confusion only better serves our aims.
Yeah, he says, I don't know what it is precisely, but I know it can be bribed. I'll get you the information. And you find good information on the thing called Bishu's Shadow, which is a beggar's shadow that apparently does work for House of Ixis and is one of their best informants. Which you can now preempt by talking to it first, and he gives you its contact information, however you contact the shadow.
Yeah. And I think the other thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to say it's been brought to my attention seems a bit stiff for what occurred, but I must begin to speak more openly, I think, of my own god. And the King of Beginnings is a being both of great power and great mystery. I do not ask you to become religious or to believe in him, but I tell you this because it would be better to hear from me that he is already here than for you to hear from someone else and think that I have been hiding it from you.
I see. Out of all the demon princes, I suspect Ixis is the only one to know. And I have good reason to believe Ixis does know about this. I have my finger on the pulse of this particular house. I know about this informant, but I have also heard another rumor that may be relevant for you. the demon Ixis has faked its own death. At least I think that's what it did.
I'm gonna roll insight to try and figure out what the fuck.
Yeah.
You know, let's say it's a 5 and a 2, and I'm drinking this beer and like just like excuse me. Who who would believe that one of the demon princes could die, and how would Ixis benefit from faking such an event?
I don't claim to keep track of its exact intentions, but no one has been able to find Ixis, only parts of it, for quite some time.
I see.
Aspects of it, yes. The shadow, the voice, the dirt under its feet, as you say, but the demon itself is gone.
Apply.
That's why I deduce it has faked its own death. I don't believe it's actually gone, but
yes,
it is the closest equivalent, right?
Indeed. I suspect in that case, there is a deeper game being played than even the other princes know. And we should not pretend that we are smarter or wiser than them, but certainly we know death better than they do.
If Ixis thinks there is any chance that a Prince of Endings is real, what better way to preempt it than to end prematurely?
And permit him to begin Ixis once more.
Yeah, he inhales the blue smoke, and for a moment there is something kind of wild-eyed in his eyes. And maybe this is not just incense, maybe there is something in there, but he seems to agree with you for a long moment and think that this makes sense.
And I think what I'm going to do is I will sit with him like in silence, and I will also indulge my vice, which is of course that I have brought him a mango, and we will share this mango. I think again,
you
like
will share a mango in this smoky room. Yep.
Yeah, and it tastes of regret and new beginnings.
Indeed.
Whatever that means.
Lovely. I also think that you may gain access to this book now, if you wish.
Yeah.
Like,
okay.
He wouldn't have it with him in the scene, but
no, sure.
He would let you read it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think like that's something I want to do, but we can do that after I think the party. I will just roll my indulge vice. That's my my first downtime action is that. I rolled a 4. I think that's great. I'm on 1 stress.
Very good. So, meanwhile, out at the actual party, where people are not having clandestine conversations in smoky rooms, shall we turn our attention to Bidrahi?
Before we do that, I think the episode should be called Ixis is spending a year dead for tax reasons.
Yes. Yeah, this is pretty much what's going on. So
I want you to know that there is for some reason, a real estate company in London called Hot Black Desiato Real Estate. And
Jesus
it is wild to me that somebody decided that that's what they would call their company. So do with that information what you will.
Anyway, that's a bit of a wham revelation about House Ixis. I said you would get good information. So.
Oh man, I mean, I think that like there is a non-zero chance that Ixis is going to pretend to be the king of beginnings, and then like take me over, and then just fold me back into itself, right?
I mean, totally, you have allied yourself with the sneakiest motherfucker of a Machiavellian demon prince, so
correct. If it was Ansenic, I would just be punched to death.
One of its aspects is now intellectual property theft.
Yes.
Yeah, indeed. Very good.
You know, just like how the Prince of Endings was always there, even though he wasn't there.
Yeah.
I have always been the Prince of Beginnings. From the beginning.
Oh.
Anyway,
yep.
Yes.
Yes, you play a dangerous game, Saeeda.
I always have.
Yes. Meanwhile,
Yes.
I'm making out.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you snuck away to like do this in private, or are you just kind of in a sofa somewhere with people like partying around you?
Yeah, we're just hanging out. I don't think
Yeah.
we've gotten to the point where we need to go away in private.
Yeah, you don't need to find a room. Yeah,
Not yet.
so she, you rolled well on Indulge Vice. It's not an overindulgence, so you're having a good time. And I think same thing. Like you're making out, there is some small talk, you're catching up. She is probably asking you a lot about your adventure in the desert.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's exciting and interesting, and it's one of those she has been talking about you for like 90% of the time because you've been doing this. And
so
but
have
then,
I, unfortunately. I can't deny it.
Yes, indeed. But enough about me. What do you think of me? But anyway. But as you like have exhausted all your tales of the desert, she says kind of casually, like, well, I guess we both have big scores coming up. Are you sure about this Jasper thing? It doesn't sound the safest.
Yeah, it's going to be like really super dangerous. It's going to be like edge of your seat stuff, man. We're going to be like riding the electric tiger. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what I'm saying.
She nods.
I've had a lot of this beer.
Yes, I know what you're saying, and really, I'm not one to talk. We're making a move as well. This party is for us as much as you, but of course, we're not taking down a mercenary in that way. What we're doing is less dangerous. We're just. And she looks at you.
Tell me?
Yeah, and she goes, we're just taking a lot of money from a certain boyfriend of mine.
You're robbing me? Oh, no, the other guy. Oh, yeah. No, I'm here. I'm totally up to speed. He says, lurching slightly.
Yeah, unfortunately, well, he knows about our relationship. I mean, yours and mine. And I can't promise he won't consider that angle when I have to pull a disappearing act. I'm going to try to cover it up, but I can't keep hanging around and dating that guy. As soon as we have our hands on the money, I'm going underground for a little while. I'd still like to see you, but he would probably figure I'd still like to see you. So all I'm saying is I might be placing you in danger, and I'm sorry about that. I know you already have a lot on your plate.
Okay. I understand what you're saying. But consider this. Yeah. I'm going to interrupt her. I'm going to hold her hands and say, there's a man named Aaron who has a house underneath the pipes. Okay? We go there. It's very super underground. And if you go there, I mean, he's kinda sucks. It smells like kebab, which I don't know, take it or leave it. But like, you can be there, you can be safe. I can come over and hang out with you whenever I want. Aaron is cool guy. I'll just tell him to go out, have cigarette break.
What I'm trying to confess to you, Bidruhi, and you really are drunk, is I'm feeling very guilty about all this. You had the courtesy to go underground, and I'm still mad at you for not telling me, but I didn't see you for months, and I can't do that again. I should break contact with you and everyone else I know and just lay low. Okay? But I don't want to. And I think that makes me kind of a bad person.
I think Pedro is just looking at her, and I think, like, I don't know, there's the trigonometry mathematics calculation gift going on in his head.
Yeah.
And he's like, so are you like pulling badass disappearing act for several months or not?
Well, I am, but I want to keep seeing you. And that's awfully selfish of me.
Well, that was my suggestion regarding the pipes.
Yes,
maybe
but
I wasn't
you won't
clear.
Be down there. You won't be down there with me the whole time, right? You could still be followed. couldn't you?
That's true. Says as though it didn't occur to him.
Mm-hmm.
Where can we go where we can be together all the time, but like I can still go out and do my thing, and then I come back and no one follows me?
Are you asking me to move in with you?
Sorry, no, I was just thinking out loud. He says startled.
Yeah.
I mean, that'd be great, but like I don't think that's a real option, to be honest. You know my mom.
Yeah. Yeah, I do.
I'm sorry, maybe I'm being insensitive, but like, you know, I think he's trying to sober up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, you know, practically that's not really a thing we can do just yet. I mean, why am I explaining this? You know this.
Yeah, she turns her face away and she says, like, I'm sorry. I wish I was the kind of person who could just stay away from you to keep you safe, but I'm not.
It's okay. I mean, danger is all over the place. Like what's the worst that could happen? Like, compared to, you know, the kinds of things that compared to like the kinds of things I've been telling you, like in terms of like, you know, I've talked about myself all the time. We didn't like rehash the whole thing, but like you understand that I'm comfortable in danger. So like, bring it on is what I say.
Even if I'm the source of it?
Yeah, why not? Listen, I've thrown down for T-Man. Okay, you think I won't throw down for my girlfriend?
There is a slight smile on her face, and she says, I hate how much I love that. I'm an awful person, but I would like to see you throw down for me.
Oh yeah, you want me to challenge Anish and Rakis to duel? I can do that right now. He's standing up.
Yeah.
And then kind of going 30 degrees angle.
Yeah, she grabs her sleeve and she says, "Up! Not before I have his money. Afterwards, I guess we'll talk about it."
All right. And he's like grabbing his hands in glee.
And I think that's the scene. But yeah, Mumtaz is genuinely conflicted about this because the smart thing to do is not what she's planning on doing.
But there's one last thing, which is he kind of like cups her chin and says, but if I'm going to be throwing down with one of the lords of Utuasha for you, then there is one thing I must have in repayment. Something that I have not had from you yet.
Mm-hmm. She raises an eyebrow quizzically.
Yes, and this could be many horrible things, in fact. But he says, what is your real name?
Yeah. I think that is about like one of the most frightening things you could have asked her in this moment. And I think there's a role here.
Yeah.
In fact, I think it's a role to see if you can learn her real name.
Yeah. Is it an action roll or a fortune roll?
I think it's a fortune roll. The only risk here is that it doesn't work, right? She trusts you a lot, so.
Yeah. So maybe binary pass fail. Without any middle will be interesting. So fortune roll, I am doing sway. I think I'm persuading.
Mm-hmm.
I have an intimate connection with this person, so trust in me comes into play. I get an extra dice.
Does. Yep.
Yeah. I'm going to push myself because I want this.
Mm-hmm.
Which means I might indulge 5 seconds later. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. It's interesting that you're pushing yourself again. 1-1-2-2.
Okay.
So I think the logical thing is she smiles and she says, well, you will have it after you save me from Anish. And she just kind of teases and kisses you. And that's the thing. That's your reward.
Mm-hmm. Well, the thought of danger only excites me further, so I'm going to indulge twice, and we will not talk about what that involves. Unless it involves an overindulgence, in which case we have to sort of talk about it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's an overindulgence, so I guess we have to sort of talk about it.
It is an overindulgence. Okay. You are once more in the chipped cup, so the crew can lose rep from people talking about you, which would actually be very bad because you're working on tearing up. Otherwise, the options are Heat, Lost in Vice, and the second Entanglement. I think the second Entanglement is very logical here, but I do believe it's your choice.
I like second Entanglement. Let's see what happens. What did we get last time? Again? Sorry?
I said, is it Cherubino messing with you again?
Well, our cohort is also drinking here, so it could also be gang trouble.
Yeah.
I mean, like, we're going to roll, but nevertheless.
Yeah. What was the one last time? I don't remember, by the way.
It was reprisals. No, a neutral faction throws their weight around. The Silver Nails started to dislike you.
Okay, sure.
We didn't really do anything else with it. The Silver Nails were just kind of upset with you for making them look bad.
Okay.
So I did, in fact, roll the lowest possible result. I rolled a 3 and a 3. So it's gang trouble or the usual suspects. So it's either your cohort causing trouble or one of your friends or vice purveyors gets investigated about you. I think logically that's Mumtaz. I think what happens here is that it doesn't happen here in this scene, but you guys have like a passionate makeout session on the sofa, which it becomes obvious to all the spies around. It's like previously it was just, some random people are making out on a sofa. And then one of the spies goes like, no, these people have a torrid secret love affair. I guess I'd better investigate this.
That's Bidri. That ass is famous.
Yes. So, Mumtaz, this actually creates quite a big wrinkle in both of your plans. She's going to be questioned about the authorities, about you. Because you have 2 wanted levels.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. I have a plan for that. But we shall come back to that.
We shall come back to it. Yeah, normally this is just a quick roll, but since it is your girlfriend, I think Bidri would not just be cool with her being interrogated. So we'll see if you have a chance at stopping that.
Yeah, let's see. I have an idea for that.
Yeah. But for now, let us cut to Clem.
Yeah, actually, would it be? I think it'd be interesting if like someone from the crew was also watching this or whatever's about to happen.
Yeah. Clem and Mushfik are probably involved with Tamira, and I was about to say, I think Tamira is a very logical person to suddenly be interested in Mumtaz, actually.
No.
Maybe she's the person who wants to question her about what the crew is up to. I mean, there's nothing that says it has to be the cops.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Clem.
So, we'll see. But Tamira is here. She has most of her employees from what we've seen are like drug addicts. Like she hooks people on her product and then pays them in product. This is how she rolls. But I think attending it here, she seems to have a small clique of like mercenaries and spies around her. And I think it's one of those situations that it's pretty late into the party before you actually spot her, Clem. So Tamira is sitting back. She's wearing a gorgeous black dress that's very, very long enough that she could trip on it. So she has a devoted servant to just hold up the train like a wedding dress. And she's mostly lounging. And I think the thing that makes her stand out is she's actually drinking the tea, which no one else is. Normally she's a hedonist, right? But I think it's clear that she's here working and not for pleasure by the fact that she's actually drinking the tea.
Of course.
And you have no idea if she has seen you, or rather, the thing is, she has pretty definitely seen you because you are not subtle, but she's made no move towards you or acknowledged you in any way. She's just kind of hanging out at the back.
Cool. And I think Clem is hanging out with Mushfik because this isn't their scene. They're the person who's been invited by one person, and they keep hanging around that one person at the party.
Yes.
Yeah.
Please introduce me
watching
to
the
people.
Twister game.
Don't look. But there's somebody watching us. Act normal.
Did we say that we are playing Twister, or are we watching the Twister game?
No, you're watching the Twister game, and I presume that I presume that Mushfik would be sampling the rare alcohol.
I want Mushfik to be playing Twister while Clem is whispering to him.
Yes, okay, fair enough. It is very in character for Mushfik.
So Mushfik turns to like I think he's sort of upside down, right? And he's turning his head, kind of trying to peer through the body. He's like, "Sorry, who's looking at us?"
Good. That's good. That's good. That's exactly what I wanted you to say. It doesn't matter. I think Clem squats down to Mushfik's level and goes, "Have you seen what Bidri and Mumtaz are up to? They're drawing everybody's eye."
I mean, I've been trying not to see it, but how can you avoid it?
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about. It's a favour that I don't want to ask you, but I suppose I'll have to. Do you mind coming over with me and talking to the person who is most definitely watching us talk right now, and that I don't want you to look at?
Okay, I don't actually know what the rules of Twister are. How do you win?
I think it's a last man standing kind of game. So like whoever falls down is out.
Just punch Cherubino.
Can I sabotage it so Cherubino loses?
Yes.
Because
of course it's Mushfik versus Cherubino at this point.
Clem takes over the little dial to sabotage it.
Okay. Well, this is an action roll, and it's a risky standard. And it's risky because Tamira is watching you, and Cherubino is very good at what he does, but it's also standard because, like, you're cheating at Twister. I don't want to make that limited. That's dumb. So...
Should I assist?
This is one of the strangest action rolls I've seen in Blades. A roll to cheat at a Twister, but okay.
And it's not even the person playing Twister.
No.
Yeah.
And it's not just Twister, it's Sword Twister.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so your goal is to finesse it so that he has to make an impossible move, and that will make him lose. Got it? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He either has to make the impossible. Well, either he has to stab himself to do it, or he has to lose.
Or
yep.
No, the only option is he has to either lose or kiss Shere Khatam.
No. I veto this.
Yes.
Okay.
Options: kiss Shere Khatam, stab himself, or lose.
Well,
I think what we should do is make a move that seems impossible for both of us to make, except Mushfik does have, like a mechanical arm. So
yes. So you're assisting by using your mechanical arm.
Fantastic. Yeah, finesse, risky standard.
I'm going to.
Sorry, I have a quick question, which is this a group action?
No, Mushfik is assisting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Risky standard finesse.
Saeeda gets in on.
Oh no, I was mostly asking because we have synchronized. So if it's a group action, then it might be very funny for you to crit on this. That's literally the only reason I asked.
Yeah. Let's see.
But I don't think it makes sense because Mushfik can't. Okay.
That's a 5, and that was the assist die.
Yeah.
So Mushfik's mechanical arm saves the day, and I think Cherubino, like, he is pretty devoted, but he's also a coward. Like, he's not going to take physical injury, so he will roll away and lose. And I don't even think he cares that much, right? This is not like a game of great honor to him. It's just a party game, whatever. That's not the risk. The risk is Cherubino pulls like an acrobatic stunt, and he rolls away. And like, he loses the game, yes, but he does this amazing, graceful roll where you read your mind like why he's one of the great performances. And for a moment, he draws the attention of everyone in the room. And when you look back, Tamira's gone.
Oh, I think we should resist that.
Yeah, you can resist it, but Cherubino is so good at stealing the attention that he actually foils your plan, even by losing.
You know what? I'm going to resist that. May I?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
By being even more.
Yeah. Very good.
I'm happy for Tamira to be somewhere. Be the Deus Ex Tamira.
So do you want me to not resist it?
Can you resist Cherubino looking good?
Yeah, what I'm going to do is that
I don't want him to look good doing this.
It's like this. Cherubino looks good. That happens. He can have his moment, but like it won't matter. Because as Sherbino does that, at that moment, Bidrohi will, in the middle of, I don't know, I think like there's quite a lot of random noise happening from Bidrohi Mumtaz, and at one point you're like, Mumtaz, who is that really hot and sexy and dangerous looking woman looking at us?
Yeah, to put attention back on her. Yeah, very well. Okay, you can resist it. I think it's insight here because it's paying attention to your surroundings. I think it's stretching it that Bidrohi would be paying this close attention to
I'm
strangers.
paying attention to all the hot people all the time.
Yes.
I have hot dirt.
Very good.
Yes. He kisses with both eyes wide open.
And you get all the stress back that you lost from your indulgence.
That's all right. We can keep rolling. Keep rolling forward.
Yes.
Oh dear.
We just make
Well, fantastic.
Something else. It'll be a different scene for that.
Yes. Okay, so you get 4 stress because you roll horribly. Interesting. But you do call attention to Tamira. So what's going to happen here is you don't resist Chervino looking good. He does. But you draw attention back to Tamira, who has gotten up. And I mean, Mumtaz has no idea who she is. So she just grabs your face, I think, and goes, "Don't you worry about that. You stay right here. I'm going to go freshen up and maybe get a change of clothes." And she is going to absolutely slip into something more comfortable and lure you away somewhere. At least that's her plan, Mumtaz is. And she's not luring you for any, trickery reasons. She just wants to get you alone now. Regrettably, this is exactly what Tamira was counting on, and she is going to follow her.
No.
Bidrohi is just going to sit there with 2 thumbs up for no reason. He's not pointing it at anyone in particular. It's just like how he's feeling right now.
Yeah.
I can picture this.
Yes.
So, the limited resist here is you don't resist Tamira being on the move, but at least you can pay attention to that she is. And, she's following reasonably discreetly. This is one of those both of them head for a bathroom at the same time kind of deal. But she is going to be able to corner Mumtaz a moment. Unless you do something about it.
Can I corner Tamira and in the
Yeah.
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 Bathroom
Do
time.
it.
We're all going to the bathroom.
Do it, corner Tamira. Do it.
Yeah.
Are you the devil on my shoulder or the angel on my shoulder?
Yeah, I corner Tamira, do it. Sounded vaguely like you wanted Clem to murder Tamira, but also vaguely like you wanted Clem to just embarrass Tamira quite a lot.
Yeah. What you said.
Bidrohi is both the devil and angel at the same time. He's the Dangel.
He can be your devil or your angel.
It's the guy straddling both shoulders with 2 thumbs up.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Great.
Very good. So, Clem, you can absolutely follow Tamira. I think let's frame this as an action roll then. And it's controlled. There's not much risk. But the reason it is an action roll is you could hypothetically just be too slow. Like you saw her across the room. And it's possible that she will have time to gain the upper hand on Mumtaz and you somehow. So that's what a failed roll will mean here. It's basically just worst position if it goes wrong.
Fantastic. I suppose it's probably a prowl, isn't it, to follow her? Yeah.
Seems reasonable.
Sounds about right. However, I do have a gut wound. I think that probably comes into play here. So I'm rolling at 0.
0 dice, controlled standard. Very good. I can offer you a devil's bargain to get you back to 1, I think. And the question is have you met Mumtaz? You haven't, right?
No, I don't think I have.
No.
I'm sure. No, you must have been. We were in a party together, so you were introduced during this stuff.
Yeah, you have been introduced as a friend of Bidrohi and so on. Yeah. But I think Mumtaz is paranoid. Well, it's up to you, I guess, whether you take this devil's bargain or not. The devil's bargain I'm offering you is that Mumtaz thinks of you as a threat for whatever reason. You're a scary-looking person, and she doesn't know you all that well, and she has tangled with scary people before. So if you take the devil's bargain, you can be there, but she won't trust you at all. She will probably trust you less than Tamira, in fact.
Oh yeah, why not?
Mm-hmm.
Why not? Yeah, I think that's interesting. Let's lean into that. Controlled standard?
Yep.
That is a 6. Very nice.
So,
Very nice.
So they're heading in, like, again, they're making it look like they're heading for a bathroom or something, but Mumtaz absolutely isn't. She is genuinely getting a change of clothes. And so I think what's going to happen is, just because it's an interesting place to frame this, it's in one of the prop rooms, I think, with like costumes and stuff. And her plan was to put on like an even sexier dress from like a play or something. But instead, what happened is that all three of you just kind of end up in the props room.
I was going to ask whether it's a falling star swordswoman costume.
Ah, yeah, that would be a funny take on it. Yes, absolutely. But she doesn't have time to get changed. She is just in this like very dark room full of costumes and masks and stuff. And then Tamira is there, and so are you, Clem. And I think the vibe of it a little bit is that Tamira glides in as if just like, hey, I just wanted a word with you. And then Clem, because you took this devil's bargain, you like appear in the doorway and look for all the world like a thug there to collect the debt.
Jesus Christ. Excuse me.
And startle them both.
The vibes are rancid.
Yeah.
So bad.
And yeah, you have the initiative. Both of them are like startled by your appearance.
Here close the doors to the House of Endings. Those who dwell within are Zoheb, called Klow, Aadiyat, called Soap, Symmetry, called Tree, and Salty. I have been Prince, your host. Our city of Uduasha is based on Blades in the Dark by John Harper and Evil Hat Productions, with special thanks to Johnstone Metzger. Follow us on Twitter or support us on kofi.com/desperateattune. If you want to engage further with us, we also have a Patreon at patreon.com/desperateattune, where you will get our newsletter, extra content, and updates from Uduasha. Next time on Desperate Attune.
How am I assisting? I'm going to assist. So Clem is slumped by the wall, and they limply let's drop some Clem lore. They're going to tug at Tamira's dress because, as you said, she needs somebody to hold her dress for her, and say, I still... Don't you remember the vows we made to each other? I'm going to unbalance her.